Hello, esteemed audience. I'm so grateful that you've continued supporting me and you've been coming in every time I need you. I really like and love what you're doing. Thank you for supporting me. Now, today I'm going to simply talk about the expectations in the short stories. Now, I'll focus on two stories, then next time I'll be moving to others. Now, today I'm going to focus on Najib Mofu's story, that is A Man of Awesome Power, and I'll also talk about Ninema, a story that I really love. Now, when I'm talking about these stories, I'm considering the candidates will sit for the paper this year, that is 2023, from November onwards. Now, I'm looking at the aspect of the virtues and the vices in these books because I know in paper 3, it is all about the virtues and the rewards. Then we have the vices and the punishments that come with that, as well as the negative issues that exist during the relations or choices that people make. Now, when I start with a man of awesome power, I have to look at the bad choices or the decision that we have the main character making. The main character, we know very well, makes a very wrong mistake. The key mistake he makes is with power. We understand he was a determined man, he was hardworking, and he was successful in his own way. Because when the story starts, we are told that he has a pension and he has built a house. He sits watching his TV in the evening with the wife, and he has now the 4 daughters who are married. That is success. Now, he makes the wrong decision once he has got these powers from God. Now, what does he do with the powers? The first thing he does is when he is walking on the road and he waves at a vehicle and the driver does not stop, he decides to punish this man. You know, it's like a selfish aspect. Selfishness is a negative aspect. Now, he decides that he's going to look at the what? The tire, and it bursts. Now, understand that his decision is not for the good of the people because that vehicle is not only like carrying the driver, it carries other passengers. And obviously, we must have had the passengers who suffered because of his decision. So therefore, we see that choosing to use his powers in this way is not what God wanted. After all, we hear that when God told him that he's going to tell something be and it will be, he said he should use this in the best way possible. Now, as we move on with the text, we see another bad choice he makes. He now gets into a vehicle, and within that vehicle, he sees a man and a woman quarreling. As a human being, if you don't understand why people are quarreling, then you don't have no business in whatever they are doing. You either settle the matter without being biased or maybe make another choice. Now, what does this main character do? He decides that he's going to favor the woman. So, because the man has slapped the woman, he decides to look at this man, yeah, until he begins to develop cramps, very serious cramps that make him really suffer a lot of pain. And everybody is affected because the vehicle has to stop and they have to alight and take this man to hospital before the journey proceeds. Now, this is just because he's a bit selfish again and biased. You don't have to make decisions that are biased in any way. Now, once we have those two decisions and we can see how negative or poor they are, we move to the third decision. Where is the third decision? The third decision is made when he comes back to his house and he's watching the news and one man is talking about the development in the nation. To boost his ego and show that he can really show his power, he looks at the journalist until he cannot speak anymore. He keeps sneezing. Now, we understand that his decision was not in any way positive. If somebody is commenting negative about something you know has not been good, you either just tell them off or something else, or maybe you can change the negatives to be positive. But what does he do? He looks at the journalist until he sneezes, he cannot speak anymore. So this one is an egoistic way of having made the decision. Therefore, that decision was a negative one. The final decision I find in this story is where um, he is sitting in a hotel. There is a lady who walks in and sits just on the same table. Now, we see that he looks at this lady, and the youthful days are come back to him since all the times he has been with the wife. He remembers that this is exactly somebody who is appetizing, I can say so. Now, he decides that he should send a secret message to this woman and they can get into contact. So, after that, we see the punishment now. He loses his powers. Now, this is a very simple story whereby the vices are in the poor decision making or the bad choice that is made on the powers. Because when we get powers, we should use them in the positive way. And I find this story not having a lot. Now, when we look at the vices in this story, the only thing I learned about this man, he was determined, he had been hardworking, industrious, and he had made his, old time a better one. No wonder God had decided to make him a powerful man. But a very simple mistake messes everything up. We also see that once he gets the power, he realizes he needs a plan. Obviously, in life, even when you get money, you need a plan. He says he needs a plan for him to eliminate the problems. And at some point, he fixed an electric post, a wire that was hanging. It was loose and he fixed it, which is positive. He also saw the potholes on the road, and at looking at them, he made them good. So let's not say that he was totally making bad decisions. It's only that by making an error, then that was it. Yeah, so for a man of awesome power, that's what I have. Now, when I come to Ninema, Ninema is a simple story that has a lot of virtues, I can say so, but some few vices. Now, the virtues we learn is determination, hard work, and we have a lot of sensibility from the main character, Ninema herself. When we look at this story, the author wants to tell us that being determined in life can make you successful. You can achieve anything you want if you are determined. Now, we see that Ninema is determined, and we read a lot about what she does. You know, like she is hardworking. She is also optimistic. She's focused. She's assertive. And in many ways, we realize that she is entrepreneurial. Yeah. So when I look at Ninema, you see this simple character. If you look at the Indian lifestyle, we have the caste systems. And she knows that she's in the lowest. But she wakes up as early as 4. Yeah. So that shows us that Ninema is quite hardworking. She plucks the herbs and prepares them for the market. And do you know how far she could walk? She walked all the way from her home to the market, and we are told it was quite a distance. And she could carry her food that she could eat later up to the market. So we see she's quite hardworking. We also see she's entrepreneurial because she learned this aspect from her father and her mother, and she has kept practicing it. And that is why she's able to ensure that at the end of the day, she counts the profits and sets them aside, and the capital, of course, is maintained. Then she always has to ensure that the stock is maintained for the customers to be there. She understands that customers can complain, but she doesn't have to give in. We have Miss Sink who keeps bargaining and bargaining with her, but she does not budge because she has that entrepreneurial aspect. She is quite assertive. Look at this society whereby men can sit on the roads and stare at a woman as she's walking because, of course, she's very admirable. But for her, she just looks at them with her black eye and they are embarrassed. They look away. We also see at the market, she's assertive because while other women keep wasting time, she focuses on her work and begins arranging her spices and later on selling and all that. Now, she also comes back from the market in the evening. And when one man tries to pinch her nipple and later on tells her that if you like that, follow me, what does she do? She decides that she will just pretend as if she's giving in, then follows the man, takes her jambals and beats him up. So he's embarrassed because he's quite assertive. She is very dependent and focused. Why do we say so? When we look at Ninema, she is a poor girl and she's struggling with life. Now, if you look at the current society, every woman would want to run into a man's hand and seek support, even if they will not marry them. But look at Ninema. When we see um, Chinran is a very rich man, and he comes from a family that is up there. Yeah, but Ninema knows that they don't belong to the same caste system and decides she will, even though this man always comes around, she will just treat him like any other, any other client. She also knows that Siddharth is a doctor, that is a family doctor, but all she does is just talk to him about the mother's situation. Now, she also cares about her health and her mother's, and that is why she has kept on. Like when she's discussing with Siddharth, we realize that she's concerned about her health. She also treats the final customer in the best way so that the customer can come back by adding some spices here and there. Now, we also see that she's quite organized because the way she arranges her spices is quite appetizing. And we are told once she gets to the market, she makes sure she arranges everything and is in order. And the whole day, as other women talk around, she will just be focused at her work. And in the evening, she's the first to make sure that she removes everything and she keeps them very well. And even the few herbs that she takes home, she takes good care of them. She is quite optimistic because when you look at the story, even at the beginning, we are told she lives in a house whereby she cannot even bathe every day. Only on days she can afford warm water. And she knows that through her business, one day she will own her own house and a kind of garden where she can plant more herbs. She's optimistic because also when she sees that the herbs are diminishing, she hopes that she will bring more for the customers so that her business goes on. Yeah, at the end, when she reaches her house, she sits meditating and she hopes that once her money is enough, she will make her move of her dream. So the two stories are quite interesting for me, and I can say everything about them if you ask me. So feel free to subscribe to this channel and ask questions about Ninema, a man of awesome power, and any other short story that you wish to ask from this anthology of a silent song. And I will be happy to hear or even have your suggestions made or questions asked. Thank you. Bye bye for now.